وآل محمد. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're in our 24th evening of the English program. MashaAllah, how the time's going. And tonight we're going to begin with Quranic recitation. We're going to have Sayyid Ali Rida with the Arabic, and then we're going to have Brother Hussein Bazi do the English for us. So let's have a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عما يتساءلون عن النبأ العظيم الذي هم فيه مختلفون. كلا سيعلمون ثم كلا سيعلمون. ألم نجعل الأرض مهادا والجبال أوتادا وخلقناكم أزواجا وجعلنا نومكم سباتا وجعلنا الليل لباسا وجعلنا النهار معاشا وبنينا فوقكم سبعا شدادا وجعلنا سراجا وهاجا وأنزلنا من المعصرات ماء ثجاجا لنخرج به حبا ونباتا وجنات ألفافا. إن يوم الفصل كان ميقاتا يوم ينفخ في الصور فتأتون أفواجا. آمنت بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. الفاتحة.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, concerning what they are asking, concerning the great news, about which they cannot agree. Surely they shall soon know. Surely they shall soon know. Have we not made the earth as wide expanse, and the mountains as pegs? And we created you in pairs, and made you sleep for rest, and made the night as an umbrella of peace, and made the day for finding livelihood. And have we not built over you the 7 strong arches of the heavens, and placed in there a light of brilliance? And do we not send down from the clouds water in plenty, that we may produce with it corn and vegetables, and gardens of rich growth? Surely the day of judgment is an event appointed. The day of the trumpet shall be sounded, and you shall come forward in crowds. Sadaqallah.
Thank you for that beautiful recitation. Let's honor them by having salawat ala Muhammad and ali Muhammad, please. Okay, so just a couple points to make. Please double check your cell phones, make sure they are on silent or muted so we don't have any interruptions. And anyone who has a question that might be shy to raise their hand, please let me know. I will bring you a note card ASAP so we get the questions out, especially the sisters. We want some more questions from you, even though there's not many here tonight, but inshallah we'll get some. So that being said, we'd like to begin the program. I would like to bring to you our Imam here at the Islamic Center of America, our beloved Samantha Sheikh, Dr. Ibrahim Kazuruni. Let's have a loud salawat ala Muhammad and ali Muhammad for him, please.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
We praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, mindful that while we thank Him for the guidance that we receive, if we do not receive that guidance and support, we will be lost. And we salute the Holy Prophet of Islam, the most noble messenger, and also his pure progenies. Sisters and brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before I proceed, I'm sure by now you have all heard the explosion in the Istanbul airport. Yet again, what was let loose against the defenseless people of Syria, hoping that the day will come in which the regime change will take place, it has come back as boomerang to haunt them. They thought, Bashar al-Assad said many years ago, that terrorism, once it's supported, is not going to remain contained within its particular border. It's going to go beyond it. But they betted on the fact that he would only last for a few weeks, if not a few months. And now they have come to regret what is going on, because there is no country in Europe or the Middle East that is safe now, because the genie is out of the box. So what is happening in Istanbul and other places, it's in Lebanon and in Syria, part and parcel of the same crisis and the same plan, unfortunately, that on Friday we will be discussing it as part of the Yom al-Quds al-Adim. قال الله العظيم في محكم كتابه أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألهاكم التكاثر حتى زرتم المقابر كلا سوف تعلمون ثم كلا سوف تعلمون كلا لو تعلمون علم اليقين صدق الله العظيم. You are distracted by mutual competition in amassing worldly benefit until you reach the grave. Now know you will soon know, not know only if you knew with a sure knowledge. There is a debate as exactly what the verses or the context in which the verse was revealed. Some people, exegetes and interpreters of Quran claim that it is generally a reference to the desire for material life that we normally have, and this will continue until the moment that we die. There are others who say no, there was a unique pattern of conversation between people of Jahiliyyah, that they were boastful about their numbers, and when once their numbers about the living was not adequate, they even went to count their dead to see which tribe is more superior than the other. Last night I focused on the issue of what we call crisis in the world, or calamities and trial and everything else that we have. And I presented it both from Islamic point of view and plus from a Christian as well as Jewish point of view. That in the literature they call it the theodicy. How can we explain an all-powerful God, all-merciful, and at the same time we know that there are crises in the world, calamities in the world, people are being deprived, people are being killed, etc., etc. These two do not go together. And I explained that if you look at the historical debate and discussion, various opinions have been presented in Christianity and Judaism. Islam has a unique approach to it. While theodicy, either in the Augustinian sense or Irenaean sense, or even the Jewish interpretation of it, clearly defines all the crises in one box. Augustine says that God created the world in the most perfect condition. It was the original sin that brought crises and calamities into the world. And the world has to suffer this kind of crisis until the end, when the Messiah comes. Or to a degree, the crucifixion took place. So, various discussions. Irenaeus, on the other hand, which was an early theologian, Christian theologian of late, was born early middle century and died early 3rd century. He is of the opinion that no, we need these calamities for humans to develop and mature spiritually, to become mature spiritually. And Christian, Jewish scholars have come up with different opinions. We looked at the verses. If we were to present this from an Islamic point of view to the Holy Quran, we say, okay, as a theme, let's see what Quran talks about this issue. There is no shortage of verses in the Holy Quran that clearly establishes that Allah is just and acting justice, creating justice, support justice, etc. And also that Allah commands us to be just and stand for justice as well. لَقَدْ أَنْزَلْنَا رُسُلَنَا بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ وَأَنْزَلْنَا مَعَهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْمِيزَانَ. For what? So that people stand for justice and create justice. So the issue of justice of Allah is not debated, it's taken for granted. How do we then go back to the original question that was posed? If Allah is just, Allah is more merciful, Allah is more powerful, etc., etc. So how do we explain the crisis that we have to face on a regular basis in our world? We said that if we put all these verses in the Holy Quran into categorizing them, we see number one, some of the verses indicate that unlike the, say, the Christian or the Jewish scholars' interpretation of it, some of the verses that we have clearly indicate that some of the crises and the calamities in the world are direct consequence of our own action, the sins. ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس. Some of the crises that we have is a direct consequence of our own action. Call it whatever, it's sins, disobedience of Allah has calamities as a consequence. That goes without saying. So some of the calamities have to be directly attributed to us. We can't exonerate ourselves from the crisis. And remember, those of you who recite Dua Kumail, this is quite clear. That in the beginning of Kumail's supplication, you are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive you the sins that have direct negative consequences. Stops prayer from being answered, brings calamities, create crisis in one's life, etc. So this one fact. There were other verses that clearly indicated that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to remind few people that, look guy, you have gone non-linear, come back. So there is that issue as well. But most other verses we have tells us that Allah wants to test those who are believers so that understands whether they are going to struggle and stand fast on the part of Allah, rather than waver around. And I mentioned the hadith from Imam Hussein sallallahu alayhi and Nasahabitul Dunya. People are subservient to the material life. It's very difficult not to be mesmerized by the glamour of life, material life. الناس حبيب الدنيا والدين لاحق على ألسنتهم. You pay lip service to the faith. You pay lip service so long as your interests are protected. فإذا محصوا بالبلاء قبل. The moment you are tested to see whether you are prepared to stand your ground despite everything, الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا. They have faith, but then perseverance. You stand fast and you don't go astray. تتنزل عليهم الملائكة. Then the angels will come down. So most of these are part of trial and test to see whether we submit or we are the type of followers of Ahlul Bayt or others that with the first knock and we shatter to pieces. These were some of the issues that we discussed last night. Just in case we have spent few nights of prayer and suddenly we become boastful as if we have done something unique, I thought I would like to address few issues for tonight that links it. Two issues that are related. On hubb al-nafs, that self-centeredness and egocentric nature. It manifests itself internally and creates one kind of negative disease or negative character, and it also manifests itself externally and it creates another. Internally, once it's reflected and manifests itself, it creates ujb, self-deceit. You think that you are somebody. Your whole life could be spent on all kinds of sinfulness. 2 nights in the month of Ramadan, you spend half an hour praying for your own self and for your own future. Now you don't recognize anyone. The verse in the Holy Quran is clear. يَمُنُّونَ عَلَيْكَ أَنْ أَسْلَمَ. You think that you are indebted to them for them to have accepted Islam. But Allah يَمُنُّ عَلَيْهِمْ. Allah is the one that is supposed to submit to Allah for granting them that privilege. So, number one, al-asabiyya. Al-asabiyya is a kind of bigotry and arrogance. That group of people see themselves higher than the rest. And this could be due to color, creed, faith, country, Shia or Sunni or whatever. Because I am a Shia, I am superior than anybody else. Because I'm from Iraq or Lebanon or Iran or someone else, then I look down condescendingly to others. Because my feature, my color and so on, call it white or whatever, I look down on those that do not come, the pigmentation of their skin does not come close to me. Loving your own self, loving your country is not the issue. The issue is when you love it, even if you are making a mistake. I love people that come from Lebanon, and I support them even when they are wrong against somebody who's doing right. That is the asabiyya that we do. Because you see yourself somehow elevated and you look down condescendingly on others. I have few pieces of paper, then I look down at others that they are less educated. Some of the problem, the crisis that we have in the family and the divorces that we have comes out of this. Because the husband or the wife, after many years of struggle, they managed to get few pieces of paper from universities or colleges. Now they look down at the other partner that has sacrificed for them to get it. How can I go out with her? Now she becomes some kind of an undesirable thing. Why? Because I'm now qualified. This is the kind of asabiyya that the Quran says. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم من كان في قلبه حبة خردل من عصبية بعثه الله يوم القيامة مع أعراب الجاهلية. Even if a speck as small as a mustard seed of asabiyya exists in you, you will be resurrected with the Jahiliyyah mindset. Why? Because what was the Jahiliyyah mindset? Jahiliyyah mindset elevated the society, gave them hierarchical position, not based on values that Islam accepts, based on color, creed, clan, wealth, etc. And this Islam fought with and challenged right from the beginning. The Holy Prophet repeatedly in sermons, لا فرق بين عربي ولا عجمي إلا بالتقوى. He reminded the Quraysh, don't come on the day of resurrection claiming that you are a friend or a family associate of mine. For Allah, I swear by God, on that day, what matters is whether you have muttaqi taqwa or not. It doesn't matter what color, creed, faith, tribe, or anything else that you have. So those who have it, they deserve to be put into the same category as Jahili. Why? Because it goes against the mindset, the value system that Quran and Islam created. Inna akramakum indallah atqakum. You go, sometimes you see things within the society and the language that they use, the denigrating words and phrases that they use, and you say, where are we? This kind of pride rests on tribalism and clan mindset. Even when my clan is wrong, I have to support. Right and wrong is not the criteria anymore. It's whether it belongs to my family, to my clan, or somebody else. Especially Muslims. This is what hurts. Where we are told repeatedly through a number of verses, as well as hadith of the Holy Prophet and others, that this is not acceptable, it's abhorrent, distasteful. Remember the verse? A rich man sits in the circle of the Holy Prophet. A poor man, a blind poor man walks in. He begins to gather himself and move away from the place that there is no other space. He sits next to him. The Holy Prophet asks, why did you do that? He reflects, I'm sorry, Ya Rasulullah. Did you think that by him sitting next to you, some of your riches are going somehow miraculously to transfer to him? No, Ya Rasulullah. Did you think some of his poverty is going to be given to you? No, Ya Rasulullah. So why did you do that? I'm sorry, Ya Rasulullah. Shaitan said, okay, this guy has been offended by your behavior. You need to go and apologize to him. So he goes to the poor, blind person that has come into the mosque to listen to the Holy Prophet. He says, I apologize. I'm prepared to make it up by giving you half of my wealth. Free spirit has nothing to do with blindness, color, creed, or anything else. You say the wealth that becomes a liability and you consequently behave like this, it's not what I want. We were supposed to behave, to be free-spirited, not to see through these kind of things. And at the beginning of the 21st century, after 1,400 years, we still are suffering from asabiyya. Haven't we heard? The first person in the story of creation in Genesis that said this was Shaitan. خَلَقْتَنِي مِنْ نَارٍ وَخَلَقْتَهُ مِنْ طِينٍ. Somehow, an artificial hierarchical structure he created. You have created me from fire. It has some magnificent kind of characteristic to it. What is this from dry clay? I'm not going to prostrate in front of it. The first mutakabbir al-asr. It is understandable. The hadith from the Holy Prophet says, having kullu hasabin wa nasabin munqata'un yawm al-qiyamah illa hasabi wa nasabi. All relationships, all your clans, all your family, everything else that you have artificially created an image for yourself is going to come to an end the moment we sniff it. The only thing that matters is my nasab and those that are related to me. So this notion of building an image for ourselves, I'm from Vintage Bay, I'm from Baghdad, I'm from Najaf, I'm from this, I'm from Prague. Somehow I am superior than anybody else. It's going to end. None of these will be asked. On the day of judgment, you are not going to be asked which part of the world you have come from, because the world no longer exists. What are you going to be asked? Did you prepare for that eventuality? So number one, the way we can fight this is to remind ourselves that Shaitan was not the first one that implemented this, or at least this mindset. Number two, the idea that everything that we create for ourselves, this artificial hierarchy, is going to come to an end. Number three, it is contrary to the concept, to the value system that Islam has already put forward. Inna akramakum indallah atqakum. Those who are more God-centric, God-conscious in their life, they are the ones that are superior. Not your wealth, not your family, not your clan. Remember, even if you are Rockefellers, the founder of Apple, with $450 billion wealth, what did he say at the end of his life? Go online and read it. As he was sitting in front of the screen and looking at literally the seconds going by and seeing the end of it, he says, now I realize that none of these are of value. What is of value is love, affection, respect, family, etc. Building relationship. So, Asabiyya is rejected. This is an outward in that self-centeredness and egocentric that we have. Sometimes it's not only outward, inward as well. Al-Ujb. Al-Ujb is a way, it's the unique negative trait that we have. It magnifies, because of that egocentric nature, we magnify our own deeds, no matter how small they are, and overestimate their worth and satisfy with it. Once in one's lifetime, he stood up late at night and offered Salat al-Layl. Now they want the rest of the world to submit and bow in front of them because I have done Salat. Once we spend a few minutes and go through Quran, somehow we become superior. We see our sins to be very little and our good deeds to be too much. And the reverse for the others. When it comes to others, their good deeds are demeaned and devalued. Their small mistakes are somehow magnified. This is sickness in the mind that we have to deal with. إن الله عز وجل قال لداود يا داود بشر المذنبين وأنذر الصادقين. This is the reverse. It says, oh Dawood, give good tidings to the sinners and warn the believers. No, it's the reverse. You warn the sinners and you give good tidings to the believers. He says, no, reverse. فقال داود كيف أبشر المذنبين وأنذر الصادقين؟ قال بشر المذنبين بأني أقبل التوبة وأعفو عن الذنب. Give them good tidings, the sinners, that I accept their repentance and I will forgive their sin. وأنذر الصادقين أن لا يعجبوا بأعمالهم فأنه ليس عبد يتعجب بالحسنات إلا الله. And tell the believers not to get too arrogant because they have submitted a few days or prayed a few times. Because once you get it, that destroys everything. سئل عن إمام الرضا عليه الصلاة والسلام سئل عن العجب. قال عليه السلام العجب درجات. This seeing yourself and حب النفس has many layers. منها أن يزين العبد سوء عمله فيراه حسنا. We do bad deeds and we think we are doing good deeds. That's exactly what the Quran says. أفمن زين له سوء عمله فرآه حسنا. We encourage munkar and we prevent ma'ruf and we think we are doing the reverse. هل أنبئكم بالأخسرين أعمالا الذين ضل سعيهم في الحياة الدنيا. This is Quran again. If you want me to tell you who are the greatest losers, the one that in their life are those the one that somehow did not see their bad deed, and even worse, they saw them as good. All this حب النفس, because we love ourselves. That's egocentric nature that we have. Amir al-Mu'mineen sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has a number of comments about to deal with it. مَالَ ابْنُ آدَمُ وَالْفَخْرِ. Why the son of Adam is so haughty and arrogant? أَوَّلُهُ نُطْفَةٌ قَدِرَةٌ. The beginning of it is a stinky semen. وَآخِرُهُ جِيفَةٌ نَتِنَةٌ. And the end of it is stinky flesh, dead flesh. وَهُوَ مَا بَيْنَهُمَا يَحْمِلُ الْعَذْرَةَ. And in between the two, you are carrying everything dirty that you can imagine. So who are we to stand and be arrogant for what we have done? If we look at the life of our prophets and others, we see occasionally that when Shaitan came close to them, they immediately reacted. We have heard that from Jewish, Christian literature, that Prophet Isa used to go around and wash the feet of the disciples. Why? To control the nafs. But Prophet Solomon, with all this glory and wealth and power, what did he do? He used to weave baskets and sell them. This is a story that I remember from Rahmatullah. His son, Mustafa, was my teacher. One day we went to the house and looked around. He wasn't there. We said, what happened? And Mustafa said that he's gone out. I'll go and check. A delegation came to his house in Najd and began praising him as the leader of free world, etc., etc., etc. Mustafa said suddenly he decided to leave the gathering and walk out into the inner house. We waited for him for maybe half an hour. He didn't come. So I decided to go and find out what's going on. I saw him washing the toilet. I said, Mulana, delegations are sitting there waiting for you. Why are you here? He said, they began praising me so the nafs would not get out of control. I brought the nafs here into the toilet so he understands where we are going from here. These are our leaders. So that the nafs understands, get hold of it, fully control the reign, not to allow the nafs to go out of hand. They praise me so much so that the nafs would not begin to think as if I'm someone. I brought it into this. Let's think. Yes, We have been lucky. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with the opportunity to stand up and offer prayer during these nights. Recite Quran, supplication. We made our petitions during the nights. And inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to grant them. But just remember, if these minor deals are going to lead to the consequence of arrogance, we have destroyed it. Whether the external or whether the internal. We really have destroyed it. We have no consequence whatsoever. So be mindful, be grateful. Those nights that I talked about the formula that Imam Ja'far Sadiq gave about prayer, that you start your prayer first and foremost by listing Allah's blessing and mercy. And then you remind yourself of the shortcomings that you have and the sins that you have committed. Before you say salawat, and then you ask Allah to grant you some of your petition later. Okay? Don't allow shaitan to ruin these small opportunities that you have been blessed during this month, that we should have spent much longer. But don't ruin these opportunities by suddenly becoming haughty, arrogant, and talk to others condescendingly because they happen to be different colors, creeds, and so on, or you think this little bit of action that you have, or deeds that you have provided, is so huge and magnified that the rest of the world has to be thankful for your presence. May Allah forgive our shortcomings, inshallah, and grant us the privilege of remaining on this the right path. Let's recite Surah Al-Fatiha for the souls of those who have lost their lives, particularly in the light of the recent terrorist attack in Istanbul and other places in Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, and Libya or other places, in Iraq in particular as well. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Okay, we have come to the QA part. Thank you very much. You're back. I thought they were going to exile you, so you will not be around. And by the way, I'm keeping it as a souvenir. I think we have a question. We had a question from your sister last night. So finally, the ice was broken. And inshallah, in the future, she will ask you. Yes. The question is, how does one, or how can one remove some of the calamities that comes to a person? If we were to think about the various categories that we define, بعض البلاء يكون نتيجة أعمال. Some of the calamities are the consequence of our sins. So if we stop sinning, some of the bala is going to be removed. The bala that comes as a direct wish and command of Allah to test the believer, for the believer is welcome. We don't want to be removed. We have heard the story of Karbala and other places. A few nights ago, Fustu and Imam Hussein on the day of Ashura, Ramadan. So the believers will openly go and accept these bala because they are being tested, and as a consequence of this bala, they are elevated. But the main part of it is the bala that comes as a direct consequence of our negative action. They are the negative one that we should challenge and we should stop by removing what contributes to it, which is sin and shortcoming. We have also another hadith, respect and loving of your parents removes bala. Sadaqah removes bala. Helping the poor and the needy removes bala. Taking food and so on to the houses of orphans, etc., and bringing them into your family removes bala. So there are some bad deeds, negative actions, sins that we commit, and there are some good deeds. From Jabal al-Hasanati, فَلَهُ عَشْرُ أَمْثَالِهَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not specify that it is monetary reward, this amplification of the reward. It could be in anything, shape or form. So there are things that we can stop by removing the contributory factors, which are the sins and the shortcomings. We can increase it by some positive actions that we take. لا هذا ما راح يدفع البلاء عن المؤمن بالمطلق.
انت عم تقرا الخطوه لله عز وجل، هي الخطوه اللي الله عز وجل بده يهديك حتى يوصلك لعنده، فاذا اردت تولي
معين للتقريب، يعني كل عمل خير اللي نعمله
الدعاء او الصدقه مثلا او
كل شيء.
الاصل هو عم يدفعك بالبلاء لتقترب الى الله عز وجل، فانت افترضت
وهذا الاعمال كلها راح يقربك اكثر في اطار البلاء اللي موجود. بلاء بعض الروايات should I say it in Arabic, English? The brother is asking somehow a linguistic difference between bala and ibtila. If you look at some of the literature, ibtila is being used primarily when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to test the believers and sadiqeen and those who follow to get them closer. Bala is used as with regard to calamities that come directly as a consequence of our own action. But sometimes they are used as synonyms. So one substitutes for the other. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ, the verse is clear. It doesn't distinguish between ibtila or bala. That these calamities will come. Life without calamities is not possible. If you remember last night, I read a short hadith saying from Amr al-Mu'mineen that was commanding his followers not to be asked that Allah would not put you in calamities, because life is going to be there. Calamity is part of one's life. It's ask Allah to protect you from calamities that would ultimately lead to misguidance. That's what we should avoid. Otherwise, as long as the bala or ibtila, however we define it, it's semantic. If we define it, it's going to get us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those people who are God-centric would love this kind of, welcome this kind of calamities, because they know the consequence is positive. It's the negative one that we should avoid and stay away from, which is directly consequence of our own action. Well, you need to understand, as the Amir al-Mu'mineen says, اعرف الحق تعرف أهله. There are framework and criteria that you have to understand. Good deeds and bad deeds. So if I am doing certain things that are contrary to the fundamental principle, then whether I like it or I can't deceive others or I can't deceive myself. And this is why I said the hadith said that if a small speck of asabiyya and tribalism and so on, ultimately on the day of judgment is going to lead you to to be put in the same category as the Jahiliyyah, it's because of this. When I look at the fundamental principles, the value system of Islam, لا فرق بين عربي وعجمي, no distinction, it's the God-centric value system that becomes the frame of reference. And then I look down at people. Does it fit within this frame of reference or not? If not, ask the friends, for example, to be mindful. Each friend is المؤمن مرآة المؤمن. That you become a reflective image of your friend. So as soon as you see, quietly you remind that person, look, the use of this word, the use of this phrase, the use of this statement, this pattern of behavior, this arrogance is not acceptable. So let's work together or overcome. We have a hadith or historical narratives that say that early Muslims, they used to go around asking other people, please, if you see any shortcoming, remind me. If you see something from me which is not acceptable, remind me, tell me, etc. So this sense of community is supposed to be there to correct each other. But once we clearly have a vision of what are these value systems that Islam brought to challenge the Jahiliyyah mindset, our actions do not comply with this, then it has to be rejected. Well, ignorant people, I think the best way you can deal with them and help them out is to educate them. Because some of their deeds are direct consequence of their ignorance. They really don't know. And if you can help them out by providing them with education or educating them and informing them and let them know, then some of their negative action or bad deeds can be removed because now they know something. So education will be the best step. But you have to do it in a way that they do not feel ashamed or use the best language, nice language to talk to. Even if it means putting them aside and say, sister, brother, for example, what you did was not correct. Don't say it in front of other people that they might be embarrassed. Well, thank you very much. No questions tonight, so I will wait for tomorrow night. I stay actually for 4 or 5 more nights. I might see a card from one of the sisters that has a question in it. And inshallah we meet tomorrow night again. And Friday, remember Friday is Yom Al-Quds Al-Alami. It's the day that we really, it's not, Imam didn't make it as an obligation, but he clearly indicated that it's a critical day. The Palestinian plight and as the embodiment of all social injustice that takes place in the world must be kept on the surface, and we must talk about the tragedies and the calamities and crises that they, including other people, have to go through. And we have plenty to talk about these things. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. This concludes tonight's program. Thank you to our beloved Imam for enlightening us, and thank you all for attending. Assalamu alaikum.